Exclusive tour of the NOLA terrorist home. Uh-oh.
You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. Lots of different chemicals splayed around. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search warrant.
Okay, where is Daniel Hagari? I need Daniel Hagari in here to point at random things and say that this is a terrorist spreadsheet. The niece of the driver was in Haas chat yesterday and actually spoke to Hassan.
So the question I have is, we looked at the background of Jabbar extensively on the broadcast yesterday. I think you saw some of our coverage. The LinkedIn profile was revealed. It showed that like he extensively worked in the military. He served in Afghanistan. He toured in Afghanistan. He came back. And he was doing IT work.
Oh, you mean the person who was doing the walkthrough? Oh, I mean, she's a Texas reporter, so she probably was like at the scene and, you know, got permission. If that's the actual trailer, which it looks like it is, you know, just probably talked to the cops and was like, hey, you know, let me get a walkthrough.
Work, I believe.
Yes.
For the military.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew him to be someone who knew a lot about like computers and kind of a nerd in that way.
Mm-hmm. And he also did some HR work as well.
Yes.
Okay, so there has got to be a point of divergence. So as far as his like background goes, he was, I believe, divorced once and then got remarried.
Yes.
Okay, so he was divorced once and he got remarried. Does he have kids?
Yes.
From the first wife or the second wife?
First.
Okay, and what is the so from the first wife he had
like based on what we've looked at so far on his background, it really did seem like this was a person who was either radicalized or had some kind of like, you know, breakdown. You know, we looked at like financial troubles. He had like $40,000 in credit card debt. He was having trouble paying like alimony and child support to his ex-wife. He was living alone. A lot of the typical identifiers for what would be normally like a, you know, white nationalist shooter, right? Loner, financial troubles, you know, family issues, you know, military background. That's precisely the type of person extremist organizations seek out to radicalize. Not just like extremist organizations, the feds, right? And I'm not saying with any like confidence or like, I'm not saying definitively like this is a, you know, Fed operation, you know, catfished by the FBI type situation. Not saying that. It just does fit the profile. As more and more information comes out, it does fit the profile of someone who would do like, you know, an insane act like this.
You're saying that there was, in spite of the lack of like oddities or weirdness on his social media profiles, he started acting strange, at least with his family, around the time of his separation in his second marriage.
Yes. And I'd clarify of like bonding with me and his daughter over not talking to our dads was kind of more like similar issues, like normal issues, not he was acting so weird and so extreme that he was saying all this outlandish stuff and that's why she wasn't talking to him, but so just my dad's being a dick or he's being annoying, more like that.
Typical family stuff.
All right, that makes sense.
In a weird way, in a very weird way, this guy was like really fucked up what he did, right? But in a weird way, interviews like this really do, I don't want to say humanize the person, but demonstrate how anyone could fall into, you know, these violent tendencies. So many people could, you know, become the next, you know, Samshudin Jabbar. It's just brutal. It's just like people are just getting chipped away at. It shows that he was a normal person and it could happen to anyone, really. Yeah, one bad day, you know? My therapist says that people often correct things, struggles they're working on. It's a part of working on things, but without guidance, it can go wrong easily. Yeah, I say this for people who would like find leftism, right? Like babies first leftists often are like super overcorrective, right? That's the woke scolds, you know, those people who get like real, like not militant, but uppity, right? It's like you have not had like a guiding hand in this, or like someone to go on this journey with. You know, you did this probably on your own. Fox has new pictures surface of New Orleans terror suspect with explosives.
Buckle up, a Fox News alert. The FBI now officially classifying the New Orleans attack that killed 14 people an act of terrorism.
All right, in this, as we learn more about the ISIS-inspired suspect's path toward radicalization.
Yeah, now it's a terrorist attack. Garrett Tenney is alive with what we're learning. Hey, Garrett.
I like how this video went up this morning, right, 2 hours ago, and they're saying now it's a terrorist attack when it's been 3 days since the FBI, not even 3, 4, since the FBI was like, yes, we are investigating this as a terrorist attack. Christ.
Morning, y'all. That path to radicalization is a big part of what investigators are now focusing on, and we are learning new details.
I thought it was 15. Are they excluding the attacker? Yes.
About the suspect from his family. Shaddam Shadur Jabbar's brother tells Fox News that for years, the U.S. Army veteran had been trying to find himself and looking for something to guide him, ground him, and set him straight, which was in part what led him to join the military. The brother says the whole family grew up Muslim, but that Shamsuddin took a step away from the religion in his 20s and more recently got back into his faith after his second divorce. The FBI has released these new surveillance pictures showing Jabbar in the hours leading up to the attack, walking through the French Quarter and placing 2 coolers with IEDs inside that he apparently planned to detonate during the massacre. Investigators found bomb-making materials at a nearby Airbnb where the suspect was staying, and they now believe the suspect acted alone and that he did not have any accomplices.
Whole family was Muslim. I thought the niece said that they were Christian. The way that she describes it was that they more closely associated themselves as Christians, and that even though they had Muslim names and that their granddad was Muslim, did not really like practice. They saw themselves as more of Christian, but Jabbar had like rediscovered Islam. Yes, culturally Muslim, but Jabbar had like rediscovered Islam and started to, you know, read more of the Quran and, you know, affiliate himself with Islam.
Yeah, back here on Bourbon Street, you can see a growing memorial here at the entrance from Canal Street. This is where Jabbar drove the truck around a police car and came through. You can also see this is a point of growing criticism of city officials for not having adequate security precautions in place. Yesterday, the city installed these barriers along the sidewalk, these heavy steel barriers, which would prevent a car from driving up onto the sidewalk just like Jabbar did. If these had been in place, it would have prevented that attack from happening. When the city's chief of police was asked, why weren't these in place Tuesday night? She said, I didn't even know we had them. City officials have said, though, that if it didn't happen here, this guy was so set.
Also, misquoting. They said, we had no way to know. I'm not directly quoting here. He's not quoting correctly. I know that for sure. They said, we had no way of knowing that someone would drive up on the sidewalk. We had no way to expect that. He really juked us there. I love how they're trying to push the narrative that some people are pushing back on things being terrorism, conflating it with Luigi's case. I don't think this is not terrorism, right? I just don't think it's terrorism in the way that America likes to define terrorism.